Hey y'all, welcome to Shade and the City. It's your girl Treese here, and of course, we're here to get into none other than Beyond the Gates, Season 1, Episode 116. So this was today's episode, Wednesday, okay? So if you guys have not already, all my BCG Shade Squad and all of our new viewers, please go ahead and hit the like button for me. And if you're feeling the vibe over here, please do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe, okay? And so yeah, y'all, this was a good episode. It was a slap heard around the world, and I was here for it. Now there were some things I wasn't here for, and we'll get into that. But yeah, let's get right into it. And let's get shady. Okay. Big girls don't cry. Hey, big girls don't lie. Hey. All right, y'all. So we kick off this episode. We see Eva. She's sitting around reading about her newfound grandmother, Barbara, when Tomas comes to the door and he recognizes that something's wrong with her. And so, she's like, oh, well, the letter that I showed you was legit and it led to surprising results. And, yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care. Let's move on. So then we see Leslie and Anita because this is what we were asked for. Okay. Now, they're still going at it about this trust, right? Leslie doesn't understand why Anita has an issue with her being a recipient of the funds. You know what I mean? She was like, why are you trying to play your hate? And so she starts ranting about Anita's ego and how, oh, you don't think I deserve my mother, Barbara's money. And Anita said, look, shut up and listen. Okay. And so Anita lets her know that I'm the one that set up the trust and it's funded with Dupree family money. And I said, why, Anita? Can you help it make sense to me? I just felt like she could have done more with that information if she hadn't have told Leslie about them funding it. I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments. Y'all know what to do. So we see Derrick, who's sitting in a hospital bed on the phone with Jacob, and he over here is trying to remember the password to his Paramount Plus account. How convenient, plug, right? So Jacob is glad to hear him sounding better. And so Derrick plays as if, oh, I'm doing good, even though I may not walk again, but I'm good, And he's like, you heard what the doctor said. I'll be back, I'll be back to normal, even though we know he don't really believe that. And so that's when Shanice walks into the room to, start his PT. And basically he's not interested in participating because he, admits to her that he believes he'll never walk again. And so then we see Ashley over here grilling Dr. Madison on Derrick's condition and what the real it of it is. What the real it of it is. And so she's asking, can he recover? And Madison tells her, look, it depends, but basically physical therapy is the best thing that we can do right now. So then Madison tells her, well, you know what? I'm really happy that you have so much interest in Derrick's case because, the support is vital to his recovery. So now you stuck, Ashley. Now you stuck. Okay. You got to be more careful. And then she lets Ashley know that she's also going to need some support while she's supporting Derrick. So that's conveniently, of course, when Andre happens to walk off the elevator and, he over here trying to be her superhero and he grabs her up and hugs her. And so he's like, I heard about Derrick and I'm so sorry. Let me be here for you. And you could tell Ashley pulls away and she's like, no, thank you, sir. And so Ashley tells him, thank you. Appreciate it. But can't you see that I'm in the middle of a conversation with Dr. Montgomery? And so Madison said, well, girl, I was actually getting ready to go to lunch anyway. So you can still go on and have your conversation. I mean, I ain't going to dock you for it. I mean, even though you want to clock and stuff, having personal conversations, but I ain't going to do that to you. I ain't gonna do that. Andre is trying to catch up with her on Derrick's prognosis, but Ashley acts as if she's too busy. So he keeps pleading with her to, talk. And so he keeps pleading with her and he's like, "Oh, talk to me and I want to know so I can be here for you." And Ashley flips out and she's like, "Look, Andre, okay, I don't believe a word that you can say." And I said, "Well, I mean, I can't say I blame her, Andre. Can't say I blame her at all." So we hop back over to Derrick, who's all down and out because he believes that he is paralyzed and he's going to always be in a wheelchair. And Shanice tells him, "Well, look, that may very well be the case, but you need to try to regain as much functionality in your legs as possible." And she's confused, like, "Why are you have this negative attitude all of a sudden? You was fine last night." And Derrick said, "I had time to sleep on it." And, he's more concerned about remembering that damn password. Cat comes by the station to see Jacob. She reminds him that Chelsea and her are having this party for the launch of Chelsea Cat. Because I know I love to say Chelsea Cat. She mentions how Bill was able to make the lawsuit that they had come and go away. And my notes say, "Well, why didn't we see that?" And when is the last time we've seen Chelsea with her daddy? Okay, because I think the last time we saw it is when she came to his office to put her foot on his neck about him not responding. So she asked if he and Naomi will be at the party. And Jacob says that Naomi plans to attend, but unfortunately he has to work. So Kat explains that, she's been so busy planning that she let things slip through the cracks, like making sure Leslie's goes to jail. So this took me out. So Leslie is over here acting surprised to hear that Anita is the one that set up the blind trust for Barbara. And so Anita asked her, "Well, who did you think set it up? Santa Claus?" So she explains to Leslie that the record company had no clue who Barbara was, and Dante Green, again, they dropping his name, so hopefully eventually we'll get an appearance, removed her from the group before they could even record an album. So Leslie says that, she don't know nothing about the music business or how it works, and she just assumed that they were trying to make things right. And so Anita said, "Well, I was trying to make things right." And I was literally, again, my notes say, "Why are you still talking to this lady?" I like inquiring minds want to know, asking for a friend. So Leslie's tossed to give God the glory. Okay. Hallelujah. Okay. And she's reveling in the fact that the money she's supposed to get is funded by the Duprees. And as you can see, the girl, she was out here catching the Holy Ghost. And I said, I just don't even know why Anita gave her that satisfaction. I don't know why. But, I get it. It's a soap, right? Now we go back over to two people I could care less about, which is Eva and Nomas. Okay, so Tomas Nomas, all right, is shocked to learn that Leslie is the daughter of Barbara as well. And Eva's going on about how, there's not much on Barbara and what she did find out about her was so sad. And so she mentioned how her mother has been jumping up and down since she heard the news and basically couldn't wait to go rub it in Anita's face. And I said, "Well, that's what's so crazy when you try to act like you don't know who she is, but then run to Tomas every chance you get to complain about who she is." Okay, girl. So then they jump back to the Dupree house where Leslie is actually at this point. Now she's thanking Anita. Okay. Anita makes it clear, "Look, this is definitely was not for you. And I knew nothing about you being daughter's daughter until today." So Leslie tells her, "Well, don't worry about the details. The point is, we some rich bitches. Okay." So then she goes on to tell Anita about the 50K that Ted gave her to get her to leave town and how she ran through that. And so and then she brings up how she also got an eviction notice. And, obviously we know the bill collectors was blowing up her phone. So Anita realizes, oh, so you just dying to collect on a trust for an honorable woman that is nothing like you. So Leslie responds to her, "I'm going to spend that trust money in honor of Barbara." Okay. And she contemplates, maybe I need to move behind the gates myself. I said, Lord Jesus, why would you? I just don't understand why you would give her the satisfaction, but okay. So then she goes on about her dreams of living behind the gates. And, she's always felt like an outsider, but now she's ready to take her place as Black royalty and tells Anita, "And it's all thanks to you." I know Anita, again, the longer she let her talk, I was like, how long are we going to? And then the fact that Leslie don't know how to leave. Okay. Can I just say I was fascinated that she was literally in that house to the end of the episode. Couldn't be me. I watched too much Snap. I'm telling you, I would have found a way to explain it. Y'all got friends. Marcel, he ain't retired yet. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So now Kat is bugging Jacob about the case against Leslie and and basically why it stalled. And so Jacob explains that we can't directly implicate Leslie. And so Kat asks him to keep investigating and reminds him that Laura hasn't gotten her justice. And then I thought about it, and keep seeing it on Twitter too. Where is Laura and Mona, by the way? Not only does Laura need justice, but they've been MIA for weeks now. Did they go on summer vacation? Just asking for a friend. And Kat was like, well, doesn't it matter that Laura was almost unalived? And Jacob responds, and so is my best friend. And I said, oh my God. Your best friend literally crashed out in the name of love, is my opinion. Y'all can disagree, but Andre thinks that Ashley being upset is about Derrick. And he's like, look, man, I know that, I tried to holler at you and things are a little bit messy, but I ain't want nothing to happen to the man. And so Ashley tells him, look, it is not about Derrick. And then she starts going off basically about Andre lying to her and lets him know that, yo, I saw you with Danny Dupree. So stop capping in my face. And y'all was all over each other. Chelsea is down at Orphe Jeans and she's actually on the phone with Bill, thanking him for taking care of that case. Would have liked to see it, but it's okay. So Madison joins her for lunch and Chelsea starts rambling about the upcoming launch and how many things go wrong. That's a nugget. It absolutely is a nugget, especially since we know that that crazy girl is lurking around somewhere. Okay. Y'all know who I'm talking about. So Chelsea asked for tips of Madison on handling stress on the job, blah, 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 blah. Madison talks about how, she has a patient who's had his world turned upside down. And that was pretty much it, y'all. We could have honestly done without this scene. But I guess because they getting ready to prepare. And I hope that's not one of them bags because I don't think that's cute. Y'all see it sitting on the table. I ain't even realized I had got it in shot. But I don't personally think it's that cute. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, okay? Over at Garland, Shanice has slammed Derrick's computer shut and said, you know what? I'm tired of you being stubborn about doing this PT. And Shanice said, look, I seen this before. And he lets him know, look, I'm here to help. And said, you got a choice. You can be totally dependent or you can at least be able to do some things for yourself. But it won't happen if you won't do the PT. And so reluctantly, he agrees. But, she has to speak life into him. And again, I think they're brewing for us. They're setting us up for like I said, I wouldn't mind Shanice with Derrick. I do think he's a little bit of a crybaby. But I wouldn't mind Shanice with Derrick at all. I would much rather have that than Ashley. I need Ashley to go explore France or some other country and be a traveling nurse for a little bit. So then we see Kat apologizing to Jacob for being insensitive to the fact that, Derrick has been hurt and she apologizes about being in his face about Leslie. And so Jacob tells her that, my dad done assigned me to desk duty and that's pretty much, I can't even order no supplies. This is where we at. Okay. I can't even be in charge of the office supply budget no more. No pencils, no pens, no coffee. And Jacob realizes that, okay, so you going through like a whole range of emotions. You came in here wanting justice for lawyer and getting Leslie's ass. You was talking about the purse line. What's really going on with you? And so Kat tells him about her issues with Tomas in the bedroom. And I know Princess did not like this. She made it be known on Twitter, and I love you, boo. For me personally, okay, so I did say that I liked this scene, and I liked it because I like that they're dynamic. To me, it's not much different than Chelsea going to talk to Martin about sex because that's her cousin as well, right? I also think that she won't talk to her mama, and she clearly Chelsea is not the person to get advice from on relationships by any means or sex. Well, unless you just want to be fluid and free. But I was really taking a dig at her daddy and the fact that, he's basically not around for her to even talk to or confide in if she wanted to, right? So, but I know a lot of people didn't care for this on Twitter. Some people feel like they're giving undertones or setting us up for Kat and Jacob to have a thing. And I personally just don't see that happening because I don't see that of Kat's character. Like if they wrote Kat like that, they would clearly be purposely trying to make the audience hate her. Because I think a lot of us wouldn't be able to get past that. But again, there's so few men up in Fairmont Crest, but I would not condone that. I would not condone that at all. So now back at the Duprees, Leslie is asking about furniture prices. And Anita tells her that, okay, so clearly it is all about the money for you. So Leslie brings up that, yeah, the money is all I have because of the mother that I never got to meet. So Anita said, oh, well, what a shame. And Leslie said, well, yeah, it is a shame because it's because of you I never met my mother. So Leslie blames her for having her kicked out of the articulates and basically not doing anything to stop it. And Anita tells her, well, look, you have no idea what you're talking about. And so Leslie keeps going on and on about how you stood on stage acting remorseful. And Anita said, you know what? Time's up. Conversation over. You need to go. You need to go. Okay. Exit stage left. Right. And so then Leslie asked, well, since the articulates were sisters, does this mean I get to call you Auntie Nita? And Anita said, hell to the no. And she warns her, keep Barbara's name out of your disgusting mouth because you knew nothing about her. All right. And so Leslie said, and because of what you wanted and was willing to sacrifice, I never got to. Anita warns her, look, get out of my face. And Leslie is still going on, just on and on and on. And so Anita asked her one more time, one more good time. She said, girl, get out of my face. But she don't. And Leslie still wants to talk shit. And so Anita slaps the dog out of her. Okay. And conveniently, Vernon walks in the house, which I know a lot of people caught it on Twitter as well. The continuity in that scene was terrible because we absolutely saw Vernon go upstairs. I thought when he left her and Leslie yesterday. But okay, maybe he went to the store or something and just walked by them going at each other in the living room. But I highly doubt it, right? Andre is over here acting confused when Ashley basically pulls him to the side and says that, look, I saw you the night you claimed you were going to break up with Danny. And, basically I feel stupid and, I feel like you played in my face. And so then she brings up how crazy it is that he's sleeping with his aunt's sister as well. So she tells him how he didn't hear it when she came into the room because he and Danny were too busy going at it. And so Andre realizes, oh, so that's why you pushed me away. And so Ashley tells him it's because you lied. And basically she thinks that he slept with Danny is what we got from that scene. So Vernon is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And Leslie is screaming, bloody murder, right? And so Leslie tells Vernon that Leslie tells Vernon, she assaulted me. And so Anita screams to Vernon, get that out of my house. Okay. So Leslie then comes back and chases after her and talks about how Nicole almost choked the out of her a few weeks ago. Like she was trying to gain some type of sympathy from them or something. And then she starts hollering about how violence isn't the answer. And she's looking to Vernon to co-sign with her. And so Leslie said, you know what? I should go to the police and have her charged with assault. But I've already tried that with Nicole. And Jacob refused to arrest her. And so she brings up how Ted wouldn't snitch on his wife. And so she said, you know what? I'm sure Vernon would be the same. So you know what? I'm going to let this go this time. And so Vernon tells her, no, thank you so much, right? And so Leslie said, no, thank you for having class. And said, it's not about revenge. I'm really here for acceptance. And I said, if FOS was a person, okay? And so Anita ain't trying to hear that bullshit. And she said, no, you're here about money. And so basically Vernon respectfully escorts her or, tries to escort her out the house. She's still going on and on with this conversation. Eva is still going on about how she can't believe her mama is just all about the money, like she's showing you anything else. So Tomas says, well, you know what? You're not like that. You're a decent person. And, she's like, but it's deeper than money for me. And, Tomas agrees that, yeah, you can learn where you came from. So Eva is battling, trying to figure out who she is and where she belongs. Of course, can't help but mention, oh, and how things are going. How are things going with Kat? And I said, why does it matter? Now, we moved back over to Jacob at the police station. And he's trying to help Kat figure out whatever the issue might be with Tomas romantically. And he advises Kat that, if she can't figure it out, whether it's her or Tomas, basically she need to go have sex with somebody else to figure it out. And so Jacob offers to find some single guys in the department to help her out. But of course, Kat declines, and then Jacob tells her, well, really, you need to talk to Tomas, and says, it's all about how you're feeling in the moment. So before Kat leaves, she tells him basically do what you can to arrest Leslie. And of course, he wishes her luck on her launch, which Kat said, oh, I don't need luck because I'm Kat Richardson. And I said, you better. I believe that too. Until Crazy Eyes comes and messes up the plans, because I see it. I foresee it. Get into back into Shanice and Derrick. She's trying to get him into better spirits, and finally she makes him crack a smile. And so then he asks her, basically if they were together and basically he was hurt like this, would she give up on him? And Shanice tells him, I wouldn't. And she says, and neither will Ashley. Okay. And I was like, oh, well, isn't that a cute moment? So Ashley is still trying to get back to work, while Andre is still trying to explain himself about his time with Danny. He tells her that he was with Danny, but that he stopped and ended things like he said he would. He said Danny was going through a lot that day and he just wanted to be there for her. And Ashley does believe him, but says, basically it's too late. It's too late, baby. It's too late. It's too late. Okay. And she goes on about how, that time made her realize that she really loves Derrick and that's her person. And so she plans to be by his side every step of the way. And so Andre is trying to talk, but Ashley makes it clear that no, sweetie. I'm trying to get back to Derrick. I don't understand what you didn't understand, but I'm trying to get back to Derrick. Okay. And so of course we see her leaving Andre in the wind. And I was here for it. I said, that's what you get. Clearly, you wasn't a player from the Himalaya. All right. We get a little piece of a scene where Eva is acting. That's why I ain't get its own screenshot for it. So we go back to Eva. And she's acting like she's happy to hear Tomas and Kat are doing well. And Eva asks, well, why did you come over? And so basically he returns this book, the nerdy book that they like to read. And then she loans him the third book in the series. And, that was it. That was all. All right. So now Kat has joined Chelsea down at Offie Jeans, and they're going over the guest list. And so Kat lets Chelsea know that Jacob won't be there because he's working. And so Chelsea was like, well, how you know that? And so Kat admits that she went down to the station to bother him about Laura's case, even though it hasn't gone anywhere in weeks. And then, then they just talk about how despicable Leslie is and how she still manages to come out lucky. And, Kat says, I feel like she's like the luckiest woman in the world. Back over at the Dupree house, Leslie is still in Anita's house, antagonizing her, telling her, they can have another reunion and she can stand in her mother's place. And Anita's like, girl, get her out my house, Vernon. I don't understand what you're not understanding. So Vernon escorts her out, and Leslie's out here talking about, oh, I can't wait for our friendship to blossom. And so Anita, after they get her out the house, Anita looks at Vernon. She said, I feel like I'm going to be sick, and runs to the bathroom. And I said, yeah, that would make me sick too, that you are funding the woman that has intentionally tried to destroy your daughter's life and the rest of it's just awful. It's just awful. But big girls don't cry. Big girls don't lie. Okay, I'm sorry. Bad timing. Bad timing. But yeah, y'all, that was this episode of Beyond the Gates. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If I am going in and out or seem a little delayed, I do feel like something is wrong with my internet, so I apologize. But yeah, y'all, if you haven't already, please do me a big favor. Hit the like button. Make sure that you guys comment. Please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the TikTok, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and the Blue Sky, and a lemonade. Okay. All right. I appreciate y'all, and I will catch you tomorrow for the live open up to everybody. It's going to be around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Still haven't decided, but when I decide, I'll put it up. And yeah, y'all. So I will see y'all tomorrow for the live so we can talk all things beyond the gates. All right. Love y'all. Have a good night. Bye bye.